Hello everyone, we are doing extra question and answers of chapter number 3, the water, which is written by William Orville Douglas. Here in this video, we are going to discuss extract based questions of the chapter. So let's see what are the important questions here in this chapter. Question number 1 says, read the following paragraph and answer the questions that follow. And para number 1 is, my introduction to YMCA swimming pool revived unpleasant memories and stirred childish fear. But in the little while I gathered confidence and I padded with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. I did this 2 or 3 times of different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in water when the misadventure happened. So, which misadventure he is talking here? The accident which took place in YMCA pool. Okay. So, first question here itself is, what does YMCA stand for? So, Y for Young Men Christian Association. Okay, YMCA, Young Men Christian Association. What are narrator's unpleasant memories and childish fear? So, unpleasant memories and the childish fear, this we want to know. So, what were his unpleasant memories? Narrator's unpleasant memories and childish fear were the moments of his childhood when he was drowned by the powerful waves at the beach of California when he went there with his father. So, these were his childhood, you can say fear or childhood aversion from water. Question number 3 is, after gathering confidence, what did the narrator do? After gathering confidence, what did the narrator do? So, when he gathered the confidence, he started to ape. It is given here also in the passage, but in a little while I had gathered the confidence and I paddled with new wings and watching the other boys. So, this you have to paraphrase and you have to write. So, let us see how. After gathering the confidence, the narrator paddled with his new little wings and watching the other boys and trying to learn them by aping them. Question number 4 is, what was the misadventure narrator faced? So, the misadventure was what? The narrator faced the misadventure of the drowning into the swimming pool when a big bruiser of a boy threw him into the pool just for fun, because he did not knew that he is only new and he is learning the swimming. So, like this you have to answer. Question this paragraph number 2, and let's read what is the paragraph saying. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched the bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought. So, what he thought? He was making the plans actually, right? So, that he was following here also, and I thought was a great spring upwards. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. Instead, I came up slowly. So, this line you have to write down when you will be asked that what was his strategies, what were his plans every time when he was drowning, at the bottom of the pool. So, he would bob to the surface like a cork and he would come out of the water. So, these were his plans. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. I reached up as if to grab a rope and my hands clutched only at water. I was suffocating. I tried to yell but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water but not my mouth. So, this is a paragraph. Now, let us see answers, questions and answers. 9 feet were more than 90 feet. Why? So, here 9 feet were more than 90 because the narrator did not know swimming and it was his first experience into the water. Question number 2 is, what did the narrator do when he reached the bottom? It is bottom. Okay. So, The narrator, when reached to the bottom, he shrouded all his strength and made a great spring upward, but all in vain. That was a wastage. He could not come out of water. Question number C is, what happened when he came upwards? So, though he imagined that he would bob to the surface like like a cork, but he came up slowly. It is slowly, SLOWLY. Saw nothing but water with a yellow dirty tinge everywhere. Question number 4 is, what did he try when he came outside the water first? So, after outside, when he was actually outside the water first, he grew panically. What did he try when he came outside the water first? So, he grew panically and tried to grab a rope, but clutched only water, tried to yell, but there was no sound of that, right? So, you can cut this after outside the water first. So, you will start your answer, he grew because in did it is asked. It is a printing mistake given here, please avoid this. Paragraph number 3. And then sheer stark terror seized me, terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. I was shaken under water. I was paralyzed under water, stiff, rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen. Only my heart and the pounding in my head said that I was still alive. So, question number 1 here is, what do you understand by sheer stark terror? Question number 2 is, why and how the writer was paralyzed? How did the narrator came to know that he was alive? And name the chapter and its writer. So, name the chapter and the writer is, chapter is Deep Water and the writer is William Douglas, right. So, let us start with the first question. What do you understand by sheer stark terror? So, this sheer stark terror here signifies that a terror that is straight, complete and absolutely violent, or terror that can't be overcome easily. Why and how the writer was paralyzed? So, the writer was paralyzed because he was underwater and he was thrown by a big boy and nearly drowning, and due to fear he was unable even to move his legs and hands. So, that is why he is saying it seemed that he got paralyzed. Okay, next question is, what made him realize that he was alive? So, feeling the fast heartbeats and only pounding in his head made him realize that he was still alive. And this already we have discussed, Deep Water, and this is written by William Douglas. Let us continue with paragraph number 4. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool. It is beside the pool, vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, chap means the boy. But I was only fooling. Someone said, the kid nearly died. We all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. For days, haunting fear in my heart. The slightest excursion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. I never went back to the pool, feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. So, let us see, question number 1 given here is, what was the chap's reaction on his deed? So, here we are talking about the big bully, okay, the boy who threw him in the swimming pool. So, the chap who threw him in was simply saying, but I was only fooling. He was very normal and taking that fatal incident so ordinarily. Why and when lying on the bed, narrator cried. So, when lying on the bed, the narrator cried because he was very weak, trembling and having an intense pain in his stomach. So, why he, after recovery he felt very weak. So, let us see first what is the question first. Question number C. What physical problems did he face after recovery? So after recovery, he felt very weak. He couldn't stand as he was trembling. He couldn't eat food. Even the slightest excursion upset him, making him wobbly in the knees and sick in his stomach. Next question is, how did he take the incident? So after that incident, he never went back to the pool. He feared water and avoided it whenever he could. Next, paragraph number 5. The experience had a deep meaning for me. Who is this me? William Douglas. As only those who have known the stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. In death there is a peace. There is a terror only in the fear of death, as Roosevelt knew when he said, all we have to fear is fear itself. Very important lines. Because I had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of it can produce, the will to live somehow grew intensely. At last, I felt released, free to walk the trails and climb the peaks and to brush aside the fear. So, what place that experience had in Douglas' life? So, the experience that had a deep meaning in his life, and only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. What did Roosevelt say? So, Roosevelt said, all we have to fear is fear itself. Question number 3 is, what type of experience did Douglas have? So, Douglas had the experience of both the sensation of dying in terror that fear of it can produce. Question number last is, when did the writer feel released? So, at last the writer felt released when he was free to walk through the trails and climb the peaks. So, dear students, these were the extract based questions. You have to practice for them. Thank you very much for today.